Let's go.
YouTube, what is up? We are back with another video, and we just finished up 10 games of softball this weekend, and the body is absolutely fried. I went full softball whore this weekend. We had a tournament in North St. Paul on Saturday morning where we played 2 pool games on Saturday morning, and those 2 pool games rank you for your Sunday ranking. So we played the 2 pool games. We won them both, obviously, and we didn't play again until Sunday. So then I did what every softball whore does, and I drove an hour to another tournament and played on a different team, and we played 7 games in a row at that tournament, ended up placing 3rd, and then we came back Sunday this morning and played another game, and we got absolutely wally-whopped. It was not good. It was not a good game for the boys. I broke up the perfect game the pitcher had going in slow pitch softball with a walk for our first person to reach a base, and then 5 innings later at my second at-bat in a slow pitch softball game in which you're normally batting 5 to 6 times a game, I got a hit to break up the no-hitter. So if that gives you any indicator of how that game went, it was not pretty, and it was over quick. But the swing was feeling dialed this weekend. I got my right center swing back. I was watching a lot of 108 stuff, but just talking about how working with your own swing and working with what's working in the moment and working with what the feel that is working in the moment. And it was just a cool reminder and something that I needed. I feel like a lot of times coaches and myself and athletes just grab onto a cue, and once that cue works, it's great, but then they try to hold on and squeeze that cue for just a little bit longer than they need to. And a lot of times that cue, and just like a lot of tools in life where they serve you for a short period of time, they don't serve you anymore. The same thing applies in sports. And I think a lot of times when you start to try to hold on and squeeze those cues and squeeze the feels that you had before on a day, a week, a month, or just a period in life in which those tools are no longer working, I think you can really do yourself damage. And that's what I was feeling like the past week and a half with my swing, where for 2 weeks, if I got a new feel, it was working amazing. And then that feel started to slowly go away, and I kept trying to squeeze that feel back, and it was just sloppy. It felt really gross in the swing. And I watched that 108 video, and I'm like, yeah, dude, just go be a fucking athlete at the plate and just like let your body kind of do what it does. You have enough reps in the tank to be able to do that, and everything just freed up instantly. And we were 26 for 28 this weekend, and the swing was dialed. So hopefully that's a good indicator of things to come, and not only a good message for myself, but a good message for just a lot of athletes to remember. Like, use the thing that works in the moment, use the thing that's working now, and stop trying to force yourself into these molds, even if that mold has worked for yourself in the past. And at the end of the day, playing sports is just being an athlete. And the more you try to force yourself into a mold of being a certain type of athlete rather than just being a general athlete, I think the more constrained you get and the more perfect you have to be. And that's just never good in any sporting situation, because sporting situations are not going to be perfect, and it's going to be sloppy. And the more adaptable you can be, the better. So that was kind of a cool lesson for myself, and it paid off this weekend. We got a weird week of training this week. The girlfriend gets here from Colorado tomorrow. So we got to train today on Sunday. We got to train tomorrow before she gets here. And we're going to try and find 1 day a week this week to train while she's here. I'm probably going to sneak her into Lifetime and put her on an elliptical with a movie while I go lift to distract her a little bit. But we kind of have to crunch the lifts together with the 4th of July coming up this week and the girlfriend visiting. We got a trip to Duluth planned this weekend. We're going to get to go see the Trampled by Turtles in Duluth, which is where they're from, and that concert is always fucking amazing, so I'm pumped for that. But the body is beat up, and we got Snatch this day, so we got to turn up and go. We just finished the warm-up, which is our prone dislocates. Same thing we've been doing. We had 3 sets of 10 there. Put a little weight on that bar to continue to progress that stimulus. Then we had 2-minute total of weighted hang just to open up those shoulders. And then I tried Dozier's Snatch helicopters, or the barbell helicopters. I haven't done those before. I keep seeing him do them on his videos, and they look really cool, so I tried those out today. They felt really money, and we'll see if all this warming up leads to a good snatch today. We got squatted snatch balances to start, and we got suicide snatches, then we got regular snatches, then we got squats. Should be a pretty quick day. Let's get after it. All right, we got these squatted snatch balances, same thing we've been working on, squatting all the way down, then driving and snapping that bar up. K-Dot usually has us on like a 3-week accessory type phase, where he has me try basically a different warm-up or a different accessory type lift for the snatch for 3 weeks. We kind of build it up to where by the 3rd week we're pushing some decently heavy weight in that accessory type lift, and then he usually gives me a new one. And that's kind of how I program with my athletes a lot of times too. I really like that kind of 3-week cycle of things, where the first week is kind of learn the movement and get comfortable with it. The second week, you progress the movement, you add a little bit more weight, and the 3rd week, you PR the movement. And that strategy is just a pretty simple 3-week way to kind of wave your accessories. And you do the same thing with the sets and reps with the accessories, or just add in small twists to it. Today, we got 4 sets of 5 here, building up to a heavy set of 5, and hopefully making these things feel pretty cool. I'm officially in my knee sleeve era, and I hate myself more than you hate me. I got the meniscus checked by my buddy who's a PT for the Vikings, and he didn't think there was any massive damage in there. Thinks I probably just tweaked it a little bit and was telling me to take it lighter or just not go as deep into those squats and those cleans, and we know we're not going to go lighter. So we're going to try these knee sleeves out to see if it keeps the knee alive. It's really just the right knee that's bugged at all. but we're gonna go double knees just to look cool and not show weakness in one side of the body. Our football coach always said that if you're gonna wear one brace, you gotta wear 2 braces so that people don't attack the one knee. And I'm gonna bring that same mentality to Olympic lifting. So let's get after this. Let's go. All right, so this will be probably our heaviest set here. If this one's feeling really light, I'll go up one more. But we'll be pretty happy with the 185. First review on the knee sleeves. It is not fixing my problem. That's deep flexion with any knee over top of the toe. If I leave my heels at all or leave the adductor at all, that knee feels like it's gonna snap in half. So that's a little disappointing because that did not feel, these are not feeling great. But we're still gonna press on. Let's go. Oh yeah, god damn, the knee fucking hates that. Oh, god damn, we are washed up right now, fuck me. God damn, dude. All right, now before we get to our snatches, we got 3 sets of 5 of these suicide snatches. I watched the video K-Dot sent me again, and if I ever snatch like the person that he sent me the video of doing this, my life will be fully complete. That dude had this bar all the way here, and then just snapped it back into the perfect snatch position. So we're gonna try and mimic that here. Let's get it. Oh, that was way too fast. What am I doing? Oh. All right, second set here, let's rip. I'm gonna make that snatch position in a snatch pole just a little bit more fluid, get it high. I was like slow-mo snatching. I'm gonna go regular snatches here, try to get that bar as high as possible, then flip it back. Let's get it. Yeah, I like that violent snap better. That's for sure what they're doing in that video. Late but violent. Yeah. I like that feel much better. Final set here, then we'll get to some real snatches. Let's get it. Ew, that was just a real snatch. What are you doing? There we go. Hey, missed that one. You're sloppy. Whoa. Ooh, there we go. God damn, legs are shot though. All right, now we got our snatches. We're gonna build up to 210 to 225-ish, I believe. K-Dot has this program for us. We got 2 sets of 2 at that weight, then 2 sets of 1 at that weight. The sets of 2 seem pretty aggressive for that weight, so we're gonna see how those go today, but hopefully the bar starts flying. Before we get to these snatches, I was asked a question, my thoughts on zone 2 cardio for athletes, and I've done a bunch of videos on my thoughts on how to train the cardiovascular system of athletes, and I really do believe in the small-sided game, but I just had Austin Woolmat on the podcast, Rugged Firefighter or Forest Fighter on Instagram. I'll put his handle in the description, and his podcast will have dropped by the time this video's out, so go check that podcast out. But he went from professional baseball, sports performance, into wildfire fighter training, sports performance. And it was talking about just how much of an eye-opener it was, how sport-specific some of these athletes' trainings are, and how we are so focused on the extremes now and the ceilings now that we pull back any foundation and any base that those athletes could build and have. And one of his talking points was how when he first got into sports performance, he learned everything about the cardiovascular system and the ATP system and all the energy systems. And he was all aboard the if you run the 1 mile test in baseball, you're a dumbass in the sports performance world. And he believed that, and it was all about high-end performance and high ceilings. Then he got into this firefighting training where all of his clients are required to hike miles upon miles in like brutal conditioning while carrying chainsaws and cutting out into forest while avoiding and breathing in smoke from these fires. And so he started training it and learning about it, and he realized just how low of a bar a 1 mile run is for an athlete. And he related it to a distance runner saying you're not going to be able to run as far if you squat 135 on the bar, right? Like just talking about how just bare minimum of 1 mile is compared to a 135-pound squat, and how those things are just such base level of human performance that you just should be able to do them. And if you can't, it's probably a massive low-hanging fruit for you to go grab. And he thinks in the world of extremes, the massive low-hanging fruit is a lot of that basement stuff. And I just thought it was a really cool argument and a way to kind of frame the cardiovascular side of sports performance. Again, I still believe in doing the cardiovascular training through small-sided games just because I think you can get a lot more done and it's a lot more fun for athletes. But I really liked his point about how just bare minimum some of the stuff is and how extreme we take it as strength coaches in our arguments to like push the new wave of high-end performance. And we talked about how the pendulum continually swings to where it was all just mental toughness training and 1 mile runs and doing really stupid stuff to now we went all the way into this setting where we're the smartest people in the world and we have all this knowledge, and now anything on this side of the pendulum is just so dumb and you look like an idiot if you do, but it's just not true. And there's a beautiful middle ground there that you can use that's going to help the human athlete so much better than trying to pick one of these extremes to fit into a camp. So as Austin Wombat would say, train the suck. Let's get these snatches here. Oh, that shit's gonna be heavy today. God damn. All right, we're gonna stay at 205 for these 2 sets of 2 instead of going to 210 because that 205 felt heavy as fuck today. And I'm hoping it's just getting used to the heavier weights, and as we start to get used to it, it'll open up towards the end. Otherwise, it's gonna be a motherfucking grind. Let's go. Oh my God. Oh. Fuck, that's sloppy. I just watched that poll on my phone of that last rep, and I apologize. Apparently, there is just zero pop in my leg. That bar looks like it's moving 0.3 meters a second. It is not pretty right now. Hopefully, we can try and speed that shit up, or this is gonna get grindy. Let's go. Oh my God. Oh, fucking finally. Oh my God. So much better. We got 2 sets of 1 to finish up. Let's go. Honestly, I think the biggest thing, because the legs, like the bar didn't feel crazy heavy. It was just moving so slow. I honestly think the starting position of what's getting me, not starting on that 6-inch block where I know like I have to go right away. I was starting from that bottom position, and it felt like I was having slack the entire time and not actually accelerating the bar until like past my knees, and then I was just trying to send it after that, and it was fucking everything up. So I'm gonna start a little bit faster and continue to accelerate through and create a little tension on that bar before I have to do it too late. So we got 210 on the bar. We got 2 sets of 1 here. Let's go. There we go. The newbie Gainz have stopped a little bit on these ollie lifts. And I really cannot complain because I added like 100 pounds to my clean in like 9 months and had never snatched before. And I'm past the number that I ever thought I was going to get to, so still pretty happy with that. But I think this is a point in a lot of like lifters' journeys where they start to think their stuff isn't working or their program's not working because it's not the instant progress that they had before. And this is where the program hoppers versus people that are successful in training really start to diverge, and the program hoppers start to go on this magic quest to go find those newbie gains again, and then that new special thing that gets them the results right away. And this was me for a super long period of time, looking for all these holy grails, looking for this other piece, looking for that magic piece that got me those results right away again. And then there's the successful people in the program that realize that shiny toy that they had was just that they were super undertrained and really, really bad at the thing that they started at, and now they're mediocre, and going from mediocre to good at something is significantly harder from going shit to mediocre at something. And I realized like once you hit these points in which your lifts are starting to stall, to look back at all those data points to see if was it really the magic program or was it everything else going into it. And those breaking points is literally where you need to double down as an athlete to continue to push through to get to that good part, to get to that good category or whatever you're currently mediocre at. It just takes a lot of time. It just takes like double the amount of time it goes to take from going from shit to mediocre at something, which is still a solid period of time. It just happens faster. Then going from mediocre to good at something takes like double that time, and going from good to great at something takes like 20 times the amount that time. And the small details really start to matter, and your effort and intensity and everything else that goes into training really starts to matter. And that's your holy grail. Time, effort, data points, small attention to detail. Like, that's the holy grail you're looking for in all these other shiny programs that are selling you bullshit, when the real answer is right in front of you. And that's the divergent point a lot of athletes get to. It's a divergent point I'm at right now, and just got to keep going on and keep giving my body data points to get better at this thing that I want to get better at, that I want to go from mediocre to good at. So now we double down and we keep the nose at the grindstone. Let's get this. Ooh. Let's go. Let's get those squats. All right, now we got these Anderson back squats. I'm putting them up a little bit higher just so I don't have to start in that bottom position for that knee. We got 2 sets of 1 here, then a drop set after. Let's get it. The height of these pins is absolutely devious. It is exactly the sticking point in my squat. I did not do that on purpose. A lot of times with these Anderson squats, if you go a little bit too low, it just feels awkward to like get set up in. And if you go too high, you can just rep out 800 pounds on the bar. But this is the perfect height for these. Exactly where my sticking point is. My ass and hamstrings are on fire from these. Let's get it. Woo. All right, since they're supposed to stay at an 8 RPE for these 2 sets of 1, and that last set was already probably above an 8, 405 is going to be our top here, and it's going to be a fucking grind. Let's get it. Ooh. Let's go. All right, now we got a drop set, 1 set of 8s. He didn't give a percentage, so I went to 315. I think this is probably really going to fucking suck, but sometimes you got to embrace that suck. Let's get it. Ooh. 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 Come on. Ooh. Oh yeah. That was fun. Appreciate you guys watching. Keep chopping wood.